Alright guys, this is just so I can show you how much I love you guys. The show must go on. Hello and welcome to another Gwent City video. Today we have a fantastic player, Gwent2town. Gwent2town, you probably know him because he's always on top of the rank ladder and he's always bringing innovative decks in these kind of situations. Gwent2town, how are you doing? Welcome.
Hey Matty, I'm doing fine. Grateful to be here. Thank you for inviting me, and it's a pleasure. Let's go with it.
Trust me, the pleasure is mine. Now, I'm watching your deck right now, and let me ask you something. First of all, Rubberhoof. Why did you choose Rubberhoof over the other two leaders?
First, I think Brotherhood is probably right now the strongest hero for Scoia'tael to choose. Basically, because in the mirror he can set the tempo very well. Because differently from Francesca, he can actually be used round one, which gives you a big advantage and will help you secure round one very often, and that's very important. And Eitne has a really good power, but it's really limited on his uses. So I think Brotherhood really gives you the thing potential you are looking for and will give you strong plays pretty much in every matchup.
Oh, that's a pretty good answer. Now, I'm assuming that you do not have a hooker healer because of King of Beggars. Is that true? Is that the reason why you don't have them?
Yeah, but also I really don't want to be stuck in rows really often, especially in the mirror because of lacerate or weathers. So even though Hawker Healer is really useful in matchups like Northern Realms, for example, I really think it's not needed. And if you play correctly, you won't need it for anything. But it's definitely an option. The interaction with King of Beggars is true that can hurt you sometimes, but most of the time it's not a problem. It's mostly that you don't want to stack rows.
Now, let me ask you something. Siri Dash. With Siri Dash, how often do you draw her more than once? Because a lot of people would like to know in order to craft her and such.
Well, Siri Dash, I think, is one of the most important legendaries in this deck. Probably after a Glaze, for example. He really is vital for the strategy of this deck. And when you're playing the mirrors, you are looking to drop it at least 2 times, but most of the time you will drop it 3, because you will do, how I call it, a perfect thing, which means that you will end up in round 1 with only 1 card. You will draw her for sure, guaranteed, and then play it in round 2 to force 2 cards from your opponent, and then play it on round 3 again, guaranteed. Because you will have 0 cards. It's really important, but the most important legendary to craft, I would say, is a Glaze, and then Siri Dash.
Let me ask you something. I see that one of the cards that may be a variant is Orgil. Why did you choose Orgil?
Again, when you're playing in the top of the ranks of the ladder, you will see a lot of mirrors and you will see a lot of Northern Realms. I think Colgate gives you a really good body that presents a really good threat. If your opponent is playing Scoia'tael and he uses one of his Majordromes to protect his mercenary or to just be played in a unit that is not all geared, if it's played with your 3 Majordromes, can carry the game by itself by giving you card advantage on 3 rounds because he provides a lot of power. It's basically also a failsafe. If Roach gets killed, you will be able to play your Majordromes. If you don't want to use them for removal, you can play it on them. And it's basically 12 power because it's 4 for 3 rounds that you're using him, since you will very often get it in round 1, either with Brotherhood's ability or just King of Beggars, whatever.
Now, there is a card that I don't see here, but a lot of people are using it on every single ST. Why don't you have Johnny on this deck?
Well, as I said before, the goal with this deck is, of course, thinning very hard, getting Siri Dash 3 times, and sometimes, even though Johnny is awesome with Roach, it has a really good interaction. Basically, it can make clunkier your draws. The most powerful use for Johnny would be on gold cards, but against Skellige, for example, they have gold cards you don't want to copy. Against Northern Realms, they would have Redanian Elites or the Cavalries, the new Cavalries. Basically, there's a lot of targets you don't want to copy, and basically it's a little bit unreliable sometimes. It's definitely a strong card, but I don't think it's necessary. And with Siri Dash, you will have a lot of repetitive power. You don't need to copy a gold card or a silver card to win.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, as a matter of fact. Now, your deck. What's your favorite matchup?
Well, in terms of win rate, you could say that I have a pretty good win rate against most of the field. I really have a matchup I don't like to play that much, which is Northern Realms. It's still favored, but a little bit less than other matchups. And I think probably my favorite matchup is playing against Francesca, because I feel like I'm on the driver's seat all the time. I know how to play the game exactly to make me win round one and then carry on with the game as usual and win a lot of the time. I don't have, of course, separate statistics on Francesca, but I feel like probably you can win against her probably 75% of the time, or even more if you are of a better skill than your opponent.
Okay. And now, which one is your favorite match? Is that the one? Is Francesca?
It's one of my favorites. I really enjoy the Scoia'tael mirror match in general, just personally, because I think it takes a fair bit of skill, even though there's always luck involved. But yeah, that's one of my favorite matchups. Of course, Skelly is really favorite for this deck, but I don't really like to play against them too much. Basically, my favorite is just Scoia'tael. I feel like I'm in control most of the time. I can make good decisions and win the game.
Okay. Well, thank you. We're gonna take your deck for a ride, and thank you for so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Is there any shoutouts that you would like to give?
Not really, just want to give a shout out to the Gwent community. That is really awesome and has been very welcoming for me. And just want to tell the guys that I hope they really enjoyed the deck and I hope they really enjoyed the games we're about to play. See you guys later, guys.
Thank you so much. See you guys on the gameplay.